Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Caplen, editor of The Banker. I'm here with Stefania Palma, the Asia editor, and we're talking about the April issue of The Banker. Stefania, you've written the cover story. It's about Indonesia, and we're seeing a big push for digitalization in Indonesia. I mean, what are the big challenges that a country like that faces?
So Indonesia faces humongous challenges. It's a huge country, very disjointed, spread across up to 18,000 islands. The inhabited ones are over 6,000, and the population is huge. There are 250 million people. And the big question is that 2/3 of them still do not have a bank account. That is a huge number.
Okay, so in terms of emerging markets going digital, it's certainly one of the steeper hills to climb, should we say. Now, you've just come back. I mean, what are the evidence that actually things are starting to happen there?
So if you walk around Jakarta, it is impossible to have a minute go by without seeing swarms of scooter taxis. And the reason why that is happening is because fintech and mobile applications, especially in the transport sphere, are booming. And you have apps like Gojek or Grab that have started these taxi services on scooters and cars. And because the mobile phone adoption is so high in Indonesia, and obviously the cities are very, very populous, these apps are booming.
Okay, now this is a classic fintech application, but Indonesia obviously has a huge banking sector. Are the banks getting left behind?
Well, it's a bit challenging for the banks, as is happening in other countries. For example, we see this challenge also in a place like China, for instance, where we also see a fintech boom. And in Indonesia, because these tech startups are very nimble, they're very tech savvy, they're also accumulating a lot of very precious customer data because the number of transactions on these apps every day is humongous. So the banks are really playing catch up and trying to digitize. So some are setting up brand new digital banks like BTPN. Others are acquiring some of the fintechs, even though it's a bit hard for them from the regulatory front. While others, as far as BRI is concerned, they went as far as buying a private satellite.
And right, which is a bit of a first in banking.
Absolutely. According to BRI and many market participants, it's the first ever bank to do this. And they needed it because in Indonesia, you still don't have national coverage of 4G or fiber optics.
Okay, all right, so that's the cover story in April. Now, you've also edited a special capital markets report we've done with the Nikkei Asian review, because this is the issue that goes to the annual meeting of the Asian Development Bank. What's that all about?
So the idea with Nikkei Asian Review was to map out the different stages of capital markets development across Asia. So we picked 7 countries to look at and to look at the different stages at which these countries have managed to deepen their capital markets. And the idea is to look at borrowers in Asia, as corporates, banks, sovereigns, and how they manage to finance themselves. So we have the whole spectrum. We have countries like Myanmar, where the capital markets are really, really nascent. And in that case, microfinance is actually stepping in to help finance borrowers. And then you have also in the report, on the opposite end of the spectrum, countries like Hong Kong or markets like Hong Kong or Singapore, where obviously they're far more sophisticated.
Stefania, thank you very much. A very exciting issue for April, focusing on Asia. Order your copy at banker.com.